we are receiving, I think we lost Mrs. Matt and Jay talking at the bar. Sarah's boyfriend. See you later.
I should have brought it. There was so many funny things.
I thought you would enjoy it.
Yeah, one of them was...
Autumn sitting down with her dad, you can't quite see. And Julia just over there.
Unfortunately, you have to carry yourself around with a father at 7.
Not standing straight.
Is that Gordon and Priyana?
Yes, yes. Emily? And James is daddy? Yes. Emily? Yeah. She's all just about the same age as...
Yellow spring, and then you put it over your hand like that.
You have a
Then you wrap it like that.
because you're tired or
And then
go.
you do it in the middle of it, of your two ones there. Then you get this one, the one is your fingers. You take it over both of them, and then back onto that. Take it off your hand and pull. And then it's done. Outside button. Put it back.
So, no, but the guy was saying basically...
Thank you.
He said...
Gordon and Pranay talking to Ruth, and over here I'm just going slowly, there's James and talking to Paul, and you can just see John, Jay and Henry.
It was a convention.
James and Emily, dad and daughter, and Molly Watson, and then we're going to have to go and find
sometimes I'll go...
Take some while to get the feet.
What's in the
That's Andrew and Dorothea. Then I'm going to go around and photograph. Then I'm going to photograph Gordon and Cyril. But they're busy talking up at the zoo, so there you go.
Busybody, do not show your ignorance by giving sanctimonious advice. Sanctimonious.
Lovely. Very good.
My bird has been bred and hand-reared in this country, in the wild. This species is fast becoming extinct because of human encroachment on the natural habitat and killing for crop stealing. You know, farmers kill them because they eat the crop. And if it weren't for breeders in, well, first world countries, a lot of bird species would now be extinct.
Yes.
Because they have no more natural habitat.
Yeah.
Instead, my bird, likened self-righteously by you to a prisoner, has the best quality fruit, including tropical fruit, every day. You know, he gets a pomegranate every day. He gets lychees, he gets that even normal people wouldn't have in a normal household.
So you're looking absolutely.
For exercise, unlike poor prisoners, he has a dog to play with all over the flat for most of the day.
Well, there you are.
He flies around, he plays, he's free.
But this person obviously doesn't know.
If you, well, then they shouldn't write a letter like that.
Certainly not anonymous.
And be anonymous. If you care so much for the welfare of birds, do you put your money where your big mouth is? And feed the wild birds, whose numbers are depleting alarmingly each year. You know, I put food and nuts and cheese out in the garden and in my patio also for the wild birds. They come down. I have a bird bath there for them.
So this is nonsense from
Yeah. Go and get a life and get real. Get more knowledge before making inane, ill-informed comments. Go and put your 2 cents in a real cruelty case. That should keep you occupied for the rest of your life.
support the end. You put it on the radio.
Yeah. Do not throw any more litter in my patio. I do not have time to waste on an imbecile ignoramus.
On camera. So how are you enjoying this special occasion?
It's lovely, thank you.
Okay.
And a lovely sunny day, and happy birthday to Uncle Jay.
Good. It's always lovely to see you. And let's see who else is here. Okay, I'm going to turn you off now.
Over and out.
Bye.
Bye.
Whoever walked, they did the Caledonian Walk. You know, and you've got a trophy to prove it.
Yes.
That's not the only accomplishment. The other thing that I think is I'm proud of, well, I mean, I'm not, because I wish I could do it. In the gym, he does pull-ups. You know, and there's a guy who weighs at least 180 pounds. How much you weigh?
175.
195?
175.
Lying. Weighs a lot more than that. And anyway, he does that, and it's fantastic. You know, it's nice to watch that somebody of his age and his decrepitude can still do that. But what we're going to do, the other thing he likes, apart from the gym, apparently he's very fond of poetry and some esoteric poetry. So I'm going to, with Edward's permission, going to read one of his favorite poems, and that's called The Cremation of Sam McGee. It's a very well-known poem. It's very sad. You really, he'll enjoy it. I think I'm going to sit here because I don't feel like standing up.
Do you want to proper seat?
No. This is, I need a platform. I don't want a chair, a platform. All right. The Cremation of Sam McGee. There's strange things. Turn on the radio. There's strange things done in the midnight sun for the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their sudden tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was the night on the marge of Lake LaBarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the south to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him in a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd rather be in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of the cold. Through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes were closed, then the lashes froze, till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one who whimpered was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed, and the sun overhead were dancing heel to toe, he turned to me and, Cap, he said, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, it's the curse of cold. It's my awful dread of the icy graves that pains. It's the cursed cold, and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through the bone. So I want you to swear that, foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. A pal's last need is a thing to heed. So I swore I wouldn't fail, and we started on the streak of dawn like a god, ghastly pale. Crouched on the sleigh, and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee, and before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There was no breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, "You may tax your brawn and brain, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate my last remains." Now, a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart how I rehearsed that blow. In the long, long night, by the lone firelight, while the huskies round in a ring howled out their greed to the homeless snows, oh God, how I loathed that thing. And every day, that quiet clay seemed heavier grow, and on I went, for the dogs were spent, the food was getting low, the trailer was bad, I felt half mad, but I swore I wouldn't give in, and I'd often sing to that hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin, till I came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw in the trysail was called the Alice May, and I looked at it, and I thought of it, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then, "Here," I said, with a sudden cry, "is my crematorium." Some planks I tore from the cabin floor and lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around. I heaped the load on higher. The flames just soared, and the furnace roared. Such a blaze you never did see. And I burned a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike. But I didn't like to hear him sizzle so, and the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why, and the greasy smoke and an inky cloud went streaking up in the sky. Oh, I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear. But the stars came out, and they danced about. Ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, "I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked." And it's time I looked, and then the door opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace wall, and he wore a smile that you could see a mile, and he said, "Please, close the door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear that you let in the cold and snow and storm. Since I left Plumtree in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. Well, there's strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic Trail had their boom tails that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge when I buried Sam McGee."
Okay, today I'm 70. The current cliche says that 70 is the new 50. If that is so, who are these young tube riders offering me their seats? Don't they know I'm the new 50? This kind gesture first happened to me last year, and it sent an unintended but clear message. I now refuse such offers, though they're coming with disturbing frequency. To avoid some well-meaning passenger, I now stand far away from occupied trade seats. On the other hand, I gladly seek out all senior discounts, including medicines, movie tickets, and airfares. For a while, I had to prove my age. Being carded at 65 is not the same as being carded at 18. It's a delightful moment, but not happening often. A philosopher once said, "Life is understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." Looking backwards, what have I learned in my 70 years? As Oscar Wilde said, I'm not young enough to know everything. Certainly, friends and family are very important, particularly when you realize you won't live forever. Even a long retirement such as mine, which began 21 years ago, has never been boring. The world has so many stories going on at once, I can barely keep up with all the unfolding chapters. For the future, I hope to see our daughter and her family meet the challenges and changes that life will present to them. Patricia and I will help in any way we can. We plan to continue to enjoy London and New York and take side trips for adventure and learning. For example, only last year we visited Madagascar and returned with many memories and insect bites. We escaped malaria, but got sick on the food. At least the lemurs seem to be having fun. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, always do what you're afraid to do. A wise man. I follow his advice every time I cross the street in London. Standing here is another example of facing my fears. Once again, thanks for attending, and please continue to enjoy the gathering.
Henry having a seat and James' brother taking up.